know, when I think of Prince Edward Island, I think of Bud the Spud, potatoes, Anne of Green Gables. But hey, what's Bud the Spud doing with his taters, and why is Anne naked? With more on this, Sun News contributor Faith Goldie joins me. Great to see you again, Faith.
Good to see you too, Manzoid. Yeah, well, this might be a good reason to boycott potato chips made in PEI. Because guess what? PEI government, with your tax dollars, PEI, have come up with a nice little government guide that tells parents basically how to sexually educate their children. Fine, we've seen this before. However, within this pamphlet, 7 pages, you're looking at it right there, which I actually read through, it says that it is healthy for kids to masturbate, fine, and it's also healthy for them to touch genitals of familiar adults.
Wait a minute. Touch? I thought the kind of sexual abuse training children get these days, Faith, with like sort of anatomically correct dolls, is to recognize the danger signs of touching that area. And you're saying they're being encouraged to touch?
They're being encouraged. In fact, it says do not discourage these children. Do not discipline them. Do not shame them should they be doing any one of these listed healthy habits, essentially. Now, ask me, this seems to be an endeavor to legitimize pedophilia, say, as a legitimate sexual orientation. Why? Because sexual assault, when it comes to a minor, means taking a child, exploiting for the sexual ends, and guess what's included in it? Fondling. So it says with you, I'm going to quote right now, it's natural and healthy for young children to, quote, touch the private parts of familiar adults. I had to read that 2 or 3 times. And also it says that it's also healthy and normal for these children to look at nude pictures on the internet, and you're not to scorn them from that. Now you might say, children, well, 12, 13, 14, what are those kids doing touching familiar adults' genitalia anyway? This particular natural and healthy habit is targeted for kids under the age of 5 and I should say, under grade 4, so it's age 9.
Unbelievable. And as I understand the story, Faith, they're basing this, I guess, initiative on the research of Alfred Kinsey, which, of course, has been discredited, has it not?
Well, it certainly has been discredited. Now, they don't say within it that we are basing it on Kinsley's research, but, I mean, there are certain echoes of similarity. Now, Kinsley, for folks at home who don't know, this is the man who basically did a whole bunch of, I guess you could call it investigative research on sexuality of children, including child orgasms, and it basically came out that he was molesting children at 5 months old.
Basically, you'd be put in jail for what he was doing.
Certainly, and as you would be put in jail for allowing a child to touch your genitalia with his or her hand or body. But yet we have the government putting out some sort of guideline telling us, hey, it's cool, don't discourage them.
Isn't there an incredible dichotomy here? Last week we were reporting on some crazy school in British Columbia that has banned all touching. I'm not talking about touching another student while they're naked. I'm talking about high fives even, right? And yet here we have this guideline saying, hey, you know what, genital fondling, that's fair game. What is going on with the so-called educrats and co-parents where these kind of outrageous extremes are, being perpetrated?
Well, they're getting caught up in their own nonsense. And when my favorite quote from this entire pamphlet is, "There are no absolutes." Let me tell you something. Sexual activities with a child, between children or with an adult, is wrong. It always has been wrong, and it always will be wrong. So, pardon me, government of PEI, there are absolutes, and you just crossed way into the negative territory, way into the wrong territory here. But you know what? You make a good point, Manzoid, because we've seen from, the Education Mordor of Toronto District School Board, sexualization of kids again and again. This, for me, is way worse because it actually permits touching with an adult.
Well, good for you for exposing this, Faith. And I'll tell you, any parent that is going to live by this guideline, they're probably going to get a phone call from the Children's Aid Society. Faith Goldie, thank you so much for dropping by.
Thank you, Manzoid.